A 2021 prediction video. You basic bitch. Hello, my name is Alex Does F1 Stuff and welcome to, yes, a 2021 prediction video. I am jumping on that hype train. I am not normally one for opinionated videos and which driver has done best. I normally root myself in maths and numbers. But sod it, I'm going to delve in to my 2021 predictions for next season. Aiming to get this out maybe Christmas Day. It could be a little Christmas present to some people. Possibly New Year's Day, a New Year's Day present. You never know. Kick 2021 off to get this god-awful year, Christ, it's been a shitter, out of the way. Now, hopefully, the way I have actually done this is anticipating me actually making videos still in a year's time at the end of the 2021 season. So I've given each driver 3 little categories: A, their position; B, a small range of points that they could score; and also a bold or just normal average prediction for what could happen in their year. And then if I'm still making videos in a year's time, 12 months time, whenever the season ends, I will then look back at this and score myself on those 3 categories and give myself a nice little percentage. But all that waffle out of the way, we will jump straight on into my 2021 predictions and begin with the bottom 5. And I start with Mr. Nicholas Latifi in P20, unfortunately. And I think he's going to score zilch in terms of points, but his one prediction is he is going to out-qualify Russell once. Now, 2020 was a little bit of a shitter for Nicholas Latifi. Didn't really show any promise or anything in that car like Russell did, or even like Leclerc in the 2018 Sauber. I didn't really see anything, so I don't think he's going to improve, and the Williams is still most likely going to be a dog like this year. So I still think no points on the board for Latifi, but I do think if he can improve his Saturday performances, as on average, excluding Styria and Turkey, he was 6.5 tenths down on George Russell. If he can improve that, then he's going to have a much better Sunday, as Sunday he was a lot closer to Russell than people may expect. So that's Nicholas Latifi in P20. Then P19, we've got Mr. Marzipan, Mazzy Dick, Dick Face, Twat, Muggins, whatever you want to call him. He is P19. Also, 0 points, but one surprise result is going to be his prediction. Now, what do I mean by one surprise result? You know when the race finishes, and just before they're doing the podium ceremony, or just after the podium ceremony, they pull up the list of runners-up, or the provisional classification. And you're looking down that list, and then you go, oh, I didn't know they got there. That's quite cool. That is what I think is going to happen to Mazepin once this season. Sort of like Kimi Räikkönen in Abu Dhabi when he finished P12. I didn't see anything of him, but he managed P12. That sort of surprising result. Also, no points. And then P18. Now this might just surprise some people. Mick Schumacher, I feel, is going to be P18, just ahead of Mazepin, beating him on countback positions. Also, 0 points, but he is going to show glimpses of his talent. Now, sadly, I do think that Schumacher is going to score 0 points, and much like Mazepin as well, as that Haas is a bit rubbish. Let's not sugarcoat it, it is a little bit rubbish, and if Magnussen and Grosjean can only manage 1 and 2 points respectively throughout a season, I don't think they're going to do much better. Also, looking back at Schumacher's track record of different series, different categories he's raced in, the first season has never really been flawless. It's never really gone to plan. It's normally the second season where he kicks into gear. So I can't see it going particularly well, but definitely beating Mazepin. Now, P17 could be the first little underball of this episode. Giovinazzi, I'm going to place him P17. 1 to 2 points, and a crash at Spa for a 3rd time. Now, the crashing at Spa one is a little bit of a meme, as he's crashed twice there, and in the words of Matthew Gallagher, he ran out of talent going through Pouhon. So, following the trends, he's going to do it again this year. And also 1 to 2 points, he's going to score, I think, like he did in Austria. He's going to be there. The Alfa Romeo is definitely a little better than the Williams and the Haas, so I feel he can take advantage of that. Now, I feel P16 is fairly fair, and that is Mr. George Russell in the Williams. And I feel he's going to get 2 to 4 points, and he's going to score twice. Once on pace, and once opportunistically. Now, I feel this is entirely fair, as there have been definite occasions this year where George Russell could have scored points in that Williams, and I think if he has a more tidy season this year in 2021, he can 100% get those points. Whether that is truly on pace, whether he runs most of the race in P11, P10 sort of region, or whether it is opportunistic. He takes advantage of a safety car, he takes advantage of the weather, or a red flag manages to bag a free pit stop, for example. That's what I mean by opportunistic. Whether he can get it on pace, that one's going to be a bit harder, but opportunistic, 100%. And so there is your bottom 5, from Latifi up to Russell. We then move into the lower midfield, and we start with P15. I've gone with Kimi Räikkönen, a range of 2 to 6 points roughly, and outperform Giovinazzi more so than 2020, and then retire. Now, I feel it was a massive waste keeping the same Alfa Romeo lineup for 2021, as, in my personal opinion, they should have biffed out Giovinazzi, as he hasn't really shown a great deal of improvement, brought up Eilert, Schwartzman, Schumacher into the Alfa Romeo, as that's allegedly where he was going in the first place, and then had Räikkönen mentor them. Have the most experienced F1 driver on the grid, teach your young future star. That would have been ideal, but for some reason they didn't do that. Now, in 2020, Giovinazzi and Räikkönen were very, very, very similar. And I feel in order for Räikkönen to go out with a nice bang, he needs to outperform Giovinazzi a lot stronger than this. A lot stronger than just be even with him, and then he can happily retire at the end of the year. Now, P14, I believe, is fairly fair. We've got Tsunoda, 15 to 25 points, and he's going to score a top 6. That is my bold prediction for Tsunoda. I feel he's going to do like a Pierre Gasly in 2018, getting that P4 in Bahrain, or even maybe a Verstappen in 2015, or some of Carlos Sainz's performances in the 2017 Toro Rosso and some of his previous years there as well. I feel that is 100% on the cards. As for the points range, no idea, haven't got a clue. And as for his normal performances, I'm not really a big follower of Formula 2, so I don't really know how well he's going to do, like how well he does wheel-to-wheel racing, etc. It's going to be great to see. Now, P13, this could annoy a few people, but I'm going to put Pierre Gasly. The two AlphaTauris I'm going to put next to each other. And 40 to 50 points, roughly double what Tsunoda had, and he's going to experience a fall from grace. It is that line right there that I feel is going to catch a lot of people out and sort of annoy them, because he had a stellar 2020. It's a beautiful year. I just don't think he can repeat that in any way, shape or form this year round. He's still going to get P7, maybe a P6 every now and then, but he's not going to get that victory. He's not going to get those awesome driver of the day drives. He's still going to get decent performances, hence P13 and double the points of his teammates. But it's just, comparing it to the previous year, it is going to be a fall from grace, in my opinion. Now, P12, again, this could be another interesting one. I've popped Ocon in P12. It's 50 to 65 points, and he's going to start strong and then falter. Now, remember in 2016 when Esteban Ocon was the shining young star for Mercedes to drive forward their Oh wait, is that Pascal Wehrlein? Seems Mercedes don't particularly care about their young stars, much like Red Bull. But anyway, Esteban Ocon seemed to have that edge, especially in Racing Point and Force India as it was known back then, against Sergio Perez. But coming back to Renault after his year out, he's shown nothing. He sort of had a really bad start to the season and then a very good end to the season, sort of finding his mojo again. So I feel he is going to start strong, but then slip back a little bit, just a touch. Now, P11 is Carlos Sainz in the Ferrari, a range of about 75 to 90 points hopefully, and he's going to struggle to get comfy, and there is going to be team order issues with Leclerc, or team orders plural with Leclerc. I can't see 2021 going very well for Carlos Sainz. If the Ferrari is okay, he will extract decent performances from it, but if it is still a dog like this year, it's going to be very, very tough. And I can 100% unfortunately see team orders in favour of Leclerc buggering over Sainz, and therefore he's not gelling with the team. He doesn't feel comfortable and he's not comfy in that car. That's what I mean by not getting comfy. He's obviously going to be quick and get used to the car, but he's going to not feel comfortable in the team environment. And so there is the order from P15 down to P11. So we move on in to the upper midfield. P10 to P6. This is where it gets spicy. And in P10, I have put Mr. Lando Norris for McLaren. 85 to 100 points, and he's going to score a podium. Top 3 on track. Now, he scored a podium very well in Austria, however, that wasn't on track. He finished P4 on the track, and it was a penalty that promoted him to the podium. I want to see him do it again, but actually secure P3 or anywhere in the top 3 on track. That's hopefully what can happen. They're getting the Mercedes engine at the cost of all of their tokens, so I don't know how well they can amalgamate it and mush it into their current car. It could come at the cost of some of their performance, you never know. They could end up with a 2018 McLaren where they just changed the Renault engines, and it sort of was okay, but then it went not very okay, and then it progressed in the years to come. So expect 2021 to possibly be a bit of a struggle for McLaren, especially with the new Mercedes engine. Now, P9, this is 100% going to annoy people. I have popped Alonso in P9. 85 to 100 points, and he's going to secure a P2 finish in that Alpine. Now, I feel this is going to annoy a lot of people because I've either placed him too high or I've placed him far too low. I felt P9 is a good sort of mid-range, as he is 100% going to be in the fight, and yes, I do 100% believe he's going to get a P2 in that Alpine. Looking at the progression that Renault has made, and if people like Ocon and definitely Ricciardo as well can score podiums, 100% Alonso can. But he's had a few years out of the sport, so he could have lost some of his edge that we know he has at extracting performance from a crap car. But I still feel that midfield battle is going to be as close as ever, maybe not as close as 2020 last year, but we shall see, and I do firmly believe that Alonso will be roughly P9 and score a P2. Ooh, now P8. This one is heavily dependent on Ferrari's new engine. I have put Charles Leclerc in P8. 90 to 105 points, 3 podiums, and a P2. Now, that's not 4 podiums, that's just 3 podiums, one of which has to be a P2. So this is all heavily dependent on Ferrari's new engine. If it works, Leclerc is 100% going to be near the top of that midfield. Because just think, he was in the midfield fight with a Ferrari that wasn't even there. With a Ferrari that was crap in the year just gone. So if he has an engine that's actually competitive and a step up from the engine that he's had this year, he's 100% going to be up in that fight, especially if McLaren get their engine slightly wrong and they haven't amalgamated the Mercedes engine into their chassis very well. And if McLaren come backwards and Ferrari take a step forwards, 100% Leclerc will be up there. And basically contradicting everything I've just said, I have popped Daniel Ricciardo in P7 in the McLaren. 100 points to 115 and 3 podiums plus 2 top 5 starts. But like I've just said in the Leclerc piece, this is heavily dependent on the McLaren engine and if they can get the Mercedes engine to work beautifully. If it can, and it performs as well, if not better, than this year, then 100% this is going to be extremely accurate. But if it goes wrong, oh Christ, this is going to be awful. And now that leaves me on to P6. Now, definitely, people are going to say this is far too high. But I have put Lance Stroll in P6. 120 to 130 points, and he's going to score in every race he finishes. I can already feel people getting pissed off at that, 100%. And I can agree, to some degree. So Lance Stroll had an insane start to this year. He was on par, if not sometimes better, than Sergio Perez in the first portion of this year. But he took a massive performance drop. After his COVID issue in Germany, he then went on a string of no points finishes, etc. It just not looking good for him. But if he can get that consistency, and if he can keep that consistency going throughout the season, easy peasy, he's going to be P6, especially in that Aston Martin. And with P10 to P6 all completed, we move on in to the top 5. Now, I feel this one, knowing what I've just said so far, is a given. P5 is Sebastian Vettel in the Aston Martin. 130 to 140 points, and he's going to bag himself 5 podiums. Now, unfortunately, I don't feel that Aston Martin or any other team outside of Red Bull or Mercedes are going to get a victory. Otherwise, I'd have probably put one victory in for Sebastian Vettel. It's 100% going to rejuvenate him going to Aston Martin. And if that car is anywhere as quick as it was this year, even if they were doing something dodgy with their rear brake ducts or the design of their car, they're 100% going to be up there. Think of all the points that they lost this year through either mechanical issues or bad strategy. In Bahrain, they would have easily got a P3, but Perez's engine blew up. Lance Stroll got flipped upside down. He'd have scored points. Think of Lance Stroll's crash in Mugello. He was running quite comfortably up there. Think of the possible victory that slipped through their hands in Italy as well. Lance Stroll fell back through that order. They lost so many points, which would have easily put them P3 in the championship. So if they have a consistent year, that team, easily, they're going to be P3 in the Constructors again. And I feel Sebastian Vettel, after feeling this rejuvenated environment in Racing Point Aston Martin, he's going to beat Lance Stroll and he's going to finish P5. Now, I feel this one is a fairly safe bet. P4 is Sergio Perez. I think he's going to get in the region of 200 to 225 points and 2 victories. Now, when I was writing this episode and actually animating some of it as well, I likened Sergio Perez's year or first year in Red Bull next year to Lewis Hamilton's 2007 season. It took him a little while to get going, and then when it did, then came the wins. That's what I think is going to happen with Sergio Perez, especially if Mercedes have some more blunders. If they continue with their blunders that they've been having in the last couple of years, easily Perez is going to be there to snatch some of those victories. And I think 2 victories, that's not unachievable. That's definitely not unachievable. And 4th place as well, I know it's the same place he finished this year in the drivers. That doesn't matter. He's going to have 2 wins under his belt. Ooh, now who could be P3? I have placed Mr. Porridge Valtteri Bottas in P3. Around 245 to 260 points, and he's going to have an entire season-long fight with Sergio Perez. That can be both on-track battles, and it can be throughout the championship. Just an entire season-long battle with Sergio Perez. Yes, he's going to get some victories. Yes, he's definitely going to get some podiums. But I think he's going to have another disappointing year. Sort of like last year, definitely like 2018, and possibly like 2019. As sadly, Bottas is no Nico Rosberg. He has not shown any real promise in the best car on the grid. The best car for the past 7 years. Which is a shame, as we should get someone else in that car really, as there's no one to challenge Hamilton. But regardless, P3 for Valtteri Bottas, roughly 220-ish points, 245 points, and definitely a season-long battle with Sergio Perez. And so that leaves us with just 2 more spots to fill, Verstappen or Hamilton. Hamilton or Verstappen. P2 is Max Verstappen. 285 points to 300 points, and he's going to get 4 wins or lead the championship at least once. Looking back at 2020, 100% Verstappen should have finished P2. He had 5 DNFs that year, to Bottas's 1, maybe none. I don't think Bottas had it, maybe. But he also had some crappy races. But Verstappen, 5 DNFs. And he was still, 15-ish points, 10 points away from P2 in the drivers. It is not inconceivable to think that he can do that again and properly this year. We have seen that Red Bull has caught Mercedes. They have caught Mercedes. Whether that is at the sacrifice of their 2021 project, we don't know, because Mercedes 100% stopped their development around Barcelona time whenever Toto Wolff came out and said that publicly. So imagine that they probably stopped it a bit sooner than the public announcement as well to divert everything to 2021. But I also think Red Bull have done the same as well. Obviously not fully stopped their 2020 project as they progressed forwards and beat Mercedes, but definitely diverted their 2020 project to 2021. So I still feel they're going to be close, but not as close. Red Bull need to hit the ground running. They always say they will do that, and they never have. Please, 2021, hit the ground running. Which of course leaves us with the P1 spot going to Lewis Hamilton in the range of 350 to 400 points, and he's going to win twice from outside of the top 3. Now, I feel this one's actually fairly accurate because I don't think it's particularly inconceivable to think that he's going to qualify outside of the top 3 and come through and win. He was P6 in Turkey and won by over 30 seconds. Yes, that was a bit of a iffy race, but also Verstappen's looked quick in qualifying, so has Bottas. Bottas and Hamilton have been very, very close. And also, if Perez has some decent one-lap pace in that Red Bull, Hamilton may often qualify P4 maybe. And definitely if he can have the better race pace and charge through that field, I don't think it's too much of a challenge. But ultimately, yes, there is nobody that can challenge Lewis Hamilton at the moment. The person that's in the same car is rubbish. And Red Bull, unfortunately, isn't quite at Mercedes level just yet. Only when Mercedes either isn't suited to the track or make a blunder, that is when Red Bull are there. They're not there consistently, which means Hamilton is going to walk away with championship number 8. And if it's a 23 race season, he's easily going to hit 100 pole positions and easily hit 100 wins. And also, just as a little side note, I do think Hamilton's going to retire at the end of 2021 after he's hit 100 poles, 100 wins, and 8 championships. Because then what the hell is the point in staying on in the championship? And so there we go. There is my 2021 predictions from P1 down to P20. What are your thoughts? If you have disagreed with anything that I've said, let me know down in the comments below. If you have agreed or have any suggestions for videography improvements, statistics videos as well, as that is primarily what I do. I tend not to delve into opinionated videos. I much prefer to root myself in numbers and things like that. And I am slowly working through also quantifying the best driver of 2020 so far based on 4 different categories. I'll pop little playlists to those in the corners. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next episode with whatever and whenever I decide to make it. I'll see you guys then.